Happy Friday, everybody. I hope this live finds you well. It was such a beautiful day outside today and yesterday. What are you guys doing? What are you up to? Are you going home, getting ready for the weekend? I hope you all had a wonderful week. Of course, I want to try to get on every week and talk about and kind of recap some of the items I've posted throughout the week. It's election season. I'm super excited about it. I'm excited about all the candidates who have already officially declared, who've come out and letting us know that they are running for a seat. So I'm kind of going to discuss what we know so far as it regards that. And, I'm a lifelong learner, right? That's a term that's coined in the education field, but it can apply to anybody, really. And every day I like to incorporate into my structure some form of empowerment, like from people that are not necessarily your everyday go-to, and they may not even be here anymore, but what they've shared and the information and the knowledge that they have is so profound that it's still relevant today. So my favorite, and put it in the comments if you know who this person is Bob Proctor. He's absolutely my favorite of them all, of the personal, professional development, crew of folks. He's my absolute favorite. He's not with us anymore. However, he was just an amazing teacher and educator. My other persons are Les Brown. And Les Brown is how initially, I love his laugh. It's so contagious. And so he teaches, he empowers, and he has this laugh that's contagious. And so I love it. And he's initially how I learned about Bob Proctor, how I learned about Earl Nightingale, how I learned about Napoleon Hill. And those few names right there are those are my go-to people that I listen to like on a day-to-day basis. I'm very adamant about the fact that in order for us to learn things, we got to listen to it more than once. You can't just listen to it once and think that it's going to get in your spirit. You got to listen to it a lot. So those are my go-to people. And one thing that's common and one thing that I have learned from people who are experts, right, with so much experience in a certain field or a particular field, they know what right looks like. They know the signs, they recognize the patterns, they see behaviors, they discern, they have the wisdom just because of the experience and the day-to-day of maybe over 20 years, 16 years, however many years of doing the same thing and becoming a master at it. And so people, I hope they understand that. At some point when you've lived decades on this earth, in specific skin color or as a specific gender or whatever, you have that same experience. You know what things look like. You recognize patterns. You see the signs and the behavior. You have that discernment. You have that wisdom based on lived experiences. So I just wanted to share that before I got started. We're going to talk about first, it's election season. And so, again, I'm super excited that people are coming out. They are letting us know that they are running for whatever seat they're running for. And I have been sharing information now for a good 30 days or more about candidates. And there's still some yet that I'm researching because, it's important to me that I share information from a place of, clearly understanding what's going on. Some of the people that's never ran before, it's kind of too easy. Some of the people who are new on the scene, there's not a lot to dig through. There's not a lot of research or what have you. So it's too easy to share their information or what have you. Or they are a politician that is a repeat politician. They keep running for things. And so, it's too easy to share information about those people. However, there are some that I've not had the opportunity to actually encounter in person or actually serve with or under or whatever the case may be. And so in those instances, I'm going through and doing the research or what have you. So early voting. I have no idea when that's going to start yet, but I'm super excited about it. Next year, of course, we know the qualifying period is March 2nd through the 6th of 2026. And then we know that election day is May 19th. So usually early voting will probably start in in April sometime. So we're looking forward to those dates. And I'm an advocate of early voting. I suggest you get in and get out. I'm not an advocate of standing in line for days to vote. So I like to go ahead and get it done up front. And, you know, these are the moments when your participation matters the most. We need to check our voter registration. We need to check our polling stations, and we need to mark those dates and make sure that we are prepared to vote. Again, I think I've kind of mentioned this on my page this week that, you know, you're not likely going to see me out. My husband and I, we usually get out. We got out a whole lot this last election season or what have you. But if we already know, you know, some of the people that are running, it's probably likely just going to be those instances where there are new people running for office to kind of get to know them and hear them face to face and see what they have to bring to the table this election season. A little bit about who we have running, what we know so far. For citywide, for the mayor, we have Miss Kogel. For District 7, she's currently the city council member, but she's running for mayor. We have Mr. Byron Hickey. He's current District 1 city council, and he's running for mayor. We have Mr. Isaiah Hughley, which was our city manager. And then we have Mr. Mark LaJoy, who he's running for city mayor. And then we have Mr. Stephen Kelly, who's running for city mayor. And we have Dr. Jaquita Bryant Colbert, who's also running for citywide mayor. So interesting group of people. Well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6 people. And if you know if anybody I've left off, but these are the 6 people that I am tracking so far. Some of them I have, you know, put reviews on my pages, and you could check those out. And it's not for you to agree or disagree. It's just my formal review based on my experience and my perspective, information that's been shared across social media, their platforms and things of that nature on, you know, they're likely to meet the expectations and the standards as a mayor. So again, that's Ms. Kogel. She's currently the District 7 council person. Mr. Hickey, he's currently District 1. He was appointed to that position, not elected. Mr. Isaiah Hughley, our former city manager. Mr. Mark LaJoy, I think he was a former sheriff here, and of course he's prior military background. Then there's also Mr. Stephen Kelly, who's also prior military background. And then Dr. Jaquita Bryant Colbert, and I believe she's a counselor or a therapist in that way. And then we have our city council candidates. District 1, we have Ms. Barnes. District 1, we also have Ms. Karen Gaskins. Then we have District 3, exciting. We have Mr. Bruce Huff, who's the incumbent. We have Mr. Brock, and then we have Mr. Lee so far. So super exciting, interesting group of folk. In District 7, we have the People's Champ, Mr. Kelly. And I'm hoping that no one decides, you know, at the top of the year or any other time close to the election to contend this seat, because we're excited. The people are excited, and we're happy with what we believe Mr. Kelly will bring to District 7. And then the final district is for City Council is District 9, which is at-large seat. And we have Dr. John Van Dorn, and please forgive me if I mistakenly mispronounce your name. We have Dr. Kathy Cook, and we have Dr. Rocky Marsh, okay? Exciting group of folk. All seem to be very, very impressive and well equipped to handle the seat. So it's up to us to make sure that we are doing our research and voting informed. This is not about sides. It's not about color. It's not about gender. It is about standards, period, standards. And our voice matters. You know, we have to make sure that we vote with wisdom and that we are careful and intentional about what we do in this election season, for the simple fact that, you know, our world is chaotic right now based on our last voting, you know, results. It's chaotic. So we want to transition from that, especially here locally, and do the best that we can to get some peace and some honor and dignity in our city government. And, you know, that was reminded to me today is there's a city council person, or, you know, I won't just say person. So, but there's city council people who are in leadership that you trust. And so I got some information, share that information. And it reminded me today that it's so important that you do your own research. It was Mr. Brock who brought it to my attention that, you know, no formal education is required to be a city council person, which is completely shocking. It is disappointing. It is just crazy to me that for a seat that requires you to budget and do legislative, you know, laws and different things for over 200,000 people, you don't have to have a GED or a high school diploma or anything. That's weird to me. But Denise brought up a very good point. There's a reason for that, and we're going to explore that a little bit later. Social studies is my favorite subject, although I have a degree in English for teaching. Social studies is my favorite subject, but I love to write. So they kind of go hand in hand. But yeah, so let's do our research. Let's do more than show up. Let's stay informed. Let's follow these candidates. And I can't say enough, if they're brand new to the scene, you've not seen them, you know, before out in the community doing anything, that's like a red flag for me. And what I mean by that is, it's not that I necessarily have to see you in the community. Somebody should have. Somebody should be able to speak to your credibility and say, hey, yeah, this person does do this. They have contributed this, da, 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 da. Or you should have a track record. Some people, you know, feel uncomfortable, you know, sharing throughout the year everything that they do to support the community. But guess what? In the world that we live in today, you need receipts, period. You need receipts. So if it's not photos, maybe it's something else that you can do to make sure that you have a track record to show people, hey, I have been consistently doing this, that, and the third. And it doesn't require me to have a title. It doesn't require me to have a position, you know, to be in the spotlight, but I'm credible for what I do and contribute to the community. That's all we're asking for. Okay. And again, it's not that I saw you, you know, because we can't see everybody and know everything, but somebody should know. Somebody should be able to speak to your credibility that outside of election season, you have been doing the same thing, if not more, besides how you're showing up right now. Because we can see right through that. And we're not going to have it this election season. I'm so adamant about that. The standards are low. The expectations are low. And because of that, that's exactly why we get the poor leadership, the excuses, and just anybody running today because they feel like they can. And I shared, you know, on a live this past week that, you know, the generation, I'm an 80s baby. The generations before us, right? They have an understanding that people were groomed and prepared for these positions, that they were taken under, you know, leaders' wings and trained and, you know, shown the ropes. That's not happening today. We just have random people, celebrity, popular, whatever, saying, oh, I want to do this with no receipts. None whatsoever. So that's a red flag, and I just want people to really pay attention to that. The highlight of my week, well, actually it happened last week, but I had such a busy week and weekend that I did not see it until this week. That, of course, I visit City Council, and I'm on the public agenda, and I talk about the fact that we need an ethical board, committee, oversight for the language, communication, the disrespect, the disregard, the dismissive, comments that are made to certain people who attend City Council. And I haven't been to every meeting, but I have been to a lot of City Council meetings. I was definitely there when the animal advocates were there day after day, meeting after meeting, I want to say. They filled the chambers. They were passionate. They were upset. They were organized. They were all on one sheet of music, and we heard the same thing a different way from person after person after person, right? They weren't told, that they were trying to intimidate the council. They weren't told that they had criminal-like behavior because they were showing up and crowding the chambers. They weren't told when they were disrespectful or rude or anything else that they were a problem. Instead, the city gave them $3.5 million or something like that to fix the problem. But when African American clergy and leaders in our community shared concern, showed up, they were labeled as criminals. And I'm sorry, I have a problem with that. I always share this, because, it's getting a little reckless in a group that I share information. I don't have family here. I have my dad here, and my dad doesn't work in government. I don't have any friends or anybody that's working in the government. I'm not a part of anybody's organization or what have you. It's common sense that what was said and what was done is unethical. It's not right. And what's sad for me is that we have a council, we have a mayor who's unwilling to do anything about it. And every time I bring it up, they're deflecting. First, Ms. Crabb, District 5, now Mr. Hickey, District 1, not accepting responsibility or accountability for what was said as a public official. And our mayor, who I have emailed, and we're going on a month, has not responded because he doesn't care. It's not enough. I'm too busy in the world for you not to care to respond to a citizen when our rights have been dismissed, when we have been labeled criminals, because that's how serious I feel about it. When she called them a criminal, when she said they had criminal-like behavior, she called me one too. And better yet, she emailed her broker to email my broker, I guess for me to keep my mouth shut, to reel me in, to put me in my place. Because as a city official, a council member, she didn't like what I had to say or what I was posting. That is unethical. So this is why I'm so adamant about there being a committee, an oversight committee for unethical behavior, because she's going to continue. She's going to continue to break the rules and get away with it if nothing is done about it. And that is very serious, folks. And if you're not paying attention, she has been effective. She has criminalized poverty here in Columbus, Georgia. She has told people who already do not have a place to live that they cannot live in certain places. And if you don't remove yourself and your stuff in 8 days, you will get a citation up to $1,000 or you will be put in jail. So she got away with that. She got away with motioning to terminate our city mayor, our city manager, right? Because she didn't like him. And in my research, that is what I'm seeing, is that because we don't like people, that's why people were terminated. People are making mistakes every day. Right now, you got somebody that's getting 6 figures, and that person doesn't even have a clue how to put together an evidence-based Facebook page or a web page for $1 million in taxpayer dollars that's going out to crime prevention. He doesn't have the competence to do that. So there's all kinds of things that's going on. And, you know, with a military background, I'm just going to say this. My colonel and my sergeant major, they didn't know my job. As an HR person, they didn't know my job. They couldn't sit at my desk and do my job. They expected me to do my job. So when I sent them into command and staff meetings and they had their reports and they had their information, that information was a reflection of them. But if it was wrong or if something was not together, who are they coming to speak to? The expert. Who's in trouble? Who's on the line for this? The expert. So I am confused why finance people are still in place. They haven't been terminated and their area was jacked up. I'm confused about that. However, Mr. Garrett, he shed some light in our last meeting where the Solicitor General stated, hey, I did the research. This is the issues. This is what we need. So instead of providing him what he needed, they want to do research. They want to hold it up. And so we already are more than 16,000 cases in the negative backlog behind. And so when the man says that, and this is Mr. Garrett says that there are possibly people sitting in prison or in jail today who are likely innocent, that bothers me. That is screaming emergency to me. But our mayor didn't see it as an emergency. And those city council people sat up there like, oh, well, let me get the finance report. Oh, and let us talk to the HR person. And oh, let's just do all of these things besides provide a solution for what the man brought to the table. And of course, Mr. Davis, he doesn't want to do the budget. He doesn't want to change the budget. He doesn't want to do anything. He said something about whatever is when they'll look at it again. So my concern with that is that Mr. Garrett brought it up, say, hey, this is the same thing. This is kind of looking like the same thing we did with the finance department when they said, hey, we don't have enough people. You know, this is what's going on, blah, blah, blah. They didn't fix it. They spent over $400,000 hiring somebody and a consultant to come in and tell them what was already known. And then so when the consultant comes in and highlights all the issues, they're surprised and they're shocked and heads need to roll. They're part of the problem because they don't know what they're doing. And therein lies the problem when you don't even need a high school diploma to be in those positions. We don't have people who have experience in leadership and being proactive in those seats. We have people who are learning on the job, people who are just lackadaisical and laid back. Because when Mr. Thomas came to that board the first time and they told him to do his research and bring it back to them so that they could help him, that's also when they should have been doing their research, when they should have reached out to the HR director and whoever else to get the information they needed to know so that when they came together this time, they were moving forward for a solution, not sending this man back to a problem not solved again and needing more time for research. So city council is partly a lot of the issue. They are a lot of the issue. Okay. They're not proactive. And then I get it. It's a part-time job for them. I get it. They're not getting paid to operate in excellence. I get it. But guess what? Nobody put a weapon to your head and said, hey, you got to do this. Nobody volunteered you to do it. And if they volunteered you to do it, voluntold you to do it, as they like to say in the military, then guess what? You still did not have to do it. But if you're going to do it, you need to operate in excellence. And I do believe, like, these are one of the things that Mr. Broadweather brings up a lot. Water brings up a lot. It's about the charter taking 10 years for us to be able to make changes. The changes for the requirements to be in those seats need to be upgraded. It needs to be upgraded. So we have people getting away with, upholding systematic racism, unethical behavior, gaslighting and deflecting. And, it's very sad that even in the seat as an elected official, you don't have the wherewithal to take full accountability and the responsibility for the things that you said. You said it. And I'm the kind of person, if I said it, okay, then that means I got to take what comes along with it. That's not what Mrs. Crab is doing. She's emailing my broker to try to embarrass me or to close my mouth or whatever the case may be. But, of course, she doesn't know me well. So that is what it is. I will say this, like I said earlier this week, I did not come into this knowing that, or not knowing that, anticipating that somebody was going to find a business page, somebody was going to figure out who my broker was, somebody was going to find out somehow in some way to shut my mouth. I already knew that was going to happen. I was waiting on it. Okay. But who I didn't think it was going to be for herself personally was District 5, Charmaine Crab. I thought at least she would get somebody else to do it for her. Like she's brought all of these people to the Georgia Columbus Black Concern, however the page goes, to call me a racist and to say I'm trying to be divisive and say all of these things, which is a mess, right? So let's talk about how I posted today that growing up in your environments or what have you, it kind of prepares you for the life that's before you. And while you don't understand it at the moment or at the time, it makes sense for me now. So I grew up, I was born at NAS Jackson, Jacksonville, Florida. My dad was in the Navy. So I'm Florida girl all day, all night, but I love Georgia too. And Georgia is my home. My first school, public school was in Baker County, McClellan, okay? And during that time, they had a railroad track, and that railroad track separated Caucasians from African Americans, right? And I remember knowing and understanding that after a certain time, you didn't go across those railroad tracks, okay? That's one. Two, moving to Jacksonville, moving on the outskirts because we had land, we had animals and, cows, chicken, goats, and whatnot. We landed in Clay County, Middleburg area. Clay County Elementary School, Clay Hill Elementary School, was there between 1st and 3rd grade, okay? They had never had any African American students in their school. My sister and I were the first two, and then later down the line, another young lady moved in. So there was staring, there was your hair. There were all these different things that we experienced, being African American girls, the only ones in their school. And at some point, my mom relocated us to another school because something happened with my sister. She hurt herself, and they didn't care to contact her or let her know or anything like that. So she's like, oh, no, we couldn't stay there. So then we moved over to another elementary school, and it was a little bit more integrated than Clay Hill was. transitioned through that to middle school. And I rode in on our school bus with a white doll painted brown and a noose on her neck. They had her hanging on the gate fence or what have you for everybody to see it as we rolled into school. We lived off a dirt road. We were the only African-American people in our community. And every other day, my mom was being called a nigger, or you black nigger, or they were calling the police for anything, for everything. And going to school with predominantly Caucasian people, experiencing that news, I'll never forget it. Experiencing also that when it was time for us to go on the bus, to get on the bus, there was like stairs, and they would line up. And of course, they were allowed to wear all of their, redneck rules and all kinds of things of that nature. They would take their belt buckles off, they would swing it, and they say, I'm gonna get me a nigger today, right? They didn't get in trouble for this stuff. But this is what people did get in trouble for. So we had African-American boys, and at that time, LL Cool J was cool, and he was wearing those sweatpants and putting one leg up or something like that. Those boys would try to have that same style. They would get ISS or get suspended or immediately get in trouble just for having one pant leg up, saying it was, a gang related or whatever. When in fact, it was just a trend that I believe LL Cool J started with his clothing or whatever. So all of that, plus waking up on Saturday morning, going into town, seeing people in full battle rattle, the whole white hat, the whole white suit, saying niggers go home. It was 3 of them standing on the side of the road protesting, saying niggers go home. That's the experience. Now, my educational experience was great. I learned a lot. The standards of excellence were great in that regard because, of course, we were the minority in that situation. So, of course, their education system, structure, all of that stuff was excellent. Transitioning to the Army, serving my country, and in my face, I'm called a pretty nigger at a moment where I can't do anything about it. I can't do anything about it but accept it. So all of that has contributed to, shaped who I am today. Didn't make me bitter, didn't make me angry, didn't make me anything. So when I see that all of this stuff is being said and calling me a racist, like, how do you call someone a racist when you have never experienced what it feels to be out on that other side? Like, how do you do that? It is unreal to me. It's gaslighting, and I see it for what it is. And it's also deflecting what's really going on. So instead of anybody taking accountability and saying, oh, well, we do need an ethical oversight board, or we do need to fix this, that, and the third, they are coming to her defense because they support it. They're okay with it. And they're coming very aggressively to defend her when, in fact, what she did was wrong. What she does contributes to systematic racism, and it needs to be oversight. It needs to be fixed, and it needs to be to the point that it doesn't happen again. And the thing is that if it's not fixed, if it's not addressed, then this stuff will continue to happen. And that's what I hope everybody understands, is that, how did they say, if you let one thing slide, you give them an inch and they take a mile, it will get worse. And we need to nip it immediately. And we need to be effective in how we nip it. So the fact right now that we have the top person, our mayor, who doesn't care, what are we supposed to do? Who do I go to next? Who do I talk to next to ensure that we have an ethical oversight or a committee? Now, I did look in a handbook today where it stated that every department or whatnot is supposed to have one. So I'm doing my research right now to, understand who I need to contact. Because if our mayor's not going to do anything about it, if our city council is going to turn a blind eye and not do anything about it, then I need to go to the next level of whoever, legislators, my rep or what have you, to see what we can do about it. And it's unfortunate that, Mr. Hickey, he wants to police the community when in fact he just really needs to police his neighbor. Because what she did, whether you like people or not, was unethical. And that's what I need people to understand. It's not about liking people. It's not about liking or disagreeing with somebody. Unethical behavior and holding elected official accountable is our civic duty and responsibility. Period. They should not be comparing themselves to us. They should not be saying, I am not, and I've already said that once, I'm not running for anything, Mr. Brooks. They should not be comparing themselves to us. They should not think that their professionalism should be on the same level as ours. And they should not think that they should be able to get away with being dismissive and rude and disrespectful to any citizen that they have been elected to serve. And that's my issue, is that if we let it slide with calling our leaders, criminals, what's next? What's next? And if anybody knows our history like we should, we know what that entails. We know how powerful language is. So we got to make sure that we stay on top of it and make sure that, we do our part and our due diligence to support our leaders. You said, what do I want done? I want an ethics committee, an oversight board. That's what I asked the mayor for. I provided them with examples of other cities, Atlanta, Savannah, that have them. And what that ethic board does is that when I submit a complaint, you submit a complaint about unethical behavior, it's not the city council, but it's that oversight board. They investigate it, and then they explain to the public, yay or nay, about, hey, this was unethical or it wasn't unethical. So that's what we need, because if people allow Ms. Crabb and some of the others to continue to go unchecked, we will always be dismissed. We will always be, marginalized and labeled criminals. And that's not fair, especially in a predominantly African-American city. They would rather us be quiet and on the back burner than participate in democracy. And that's not okay. So, and you said it sounds like they need to be instructed on what they need to do. Well, and that is part of the problem, like we talked about earlier. When you say you don't even have a high school diploma, and that means you don't even know better. Some of us don't even know better. We don't have a place of reference to know better to implement these things. So, what kind of mayor do we have that he didn't set the tone, he didn't set the structure, he didn't put nothing in place to make sure that we had these types of checks and balances in place so that citizens are not dismissed and treated badly when they come to the public agenda, because that's a lot of the time what happens when people say things that they don't want to hear. That comes with the territory. That they don't like, it comes with the territory. And if you don't like it, and if you can't handle it, if you're not emotionally intelligent enough to be professional, then this is not the place for you to be. It's not the place for you to be. But we all know what systematic racism looks like. We know that it's deep in there. And she is a reflection. District 5, Charmaine Crabb, is an example, a reflection, a mirror of it. And she's effective. She's very effective. And if you haven't checked out the Black Georgia Concern page, check it out. See how the people come forth and defend her. You blacks. Oh, you're racist. Oh, you're trying to create division because she's been unethical and because she called our leaders criminals, mafia-like behavior. They try to intimidate people. That's me being racist, causing division. So look at the people who support her. Look at the people and their comments. I don't ever advocate to respond to foolishness. I'm not going to go back and forth with foolery. I'm not. They can say all the things they want to say. That's fine. But check it out. I would be embarrassed. If I was a leader, I would be embarrassed that the people that are claiming to defend me showed up the way that they showed up in that page. In a page that says concern Black citizens. And now all of a sudden, it's full of concerned white citizens inserting their white privilege to try to tell us how we need to communicate and what's right and what's wrong in a page that they were not invited to. However, somebody shared it with them. Somebody brought them in to try to shut it down, to shut down the education and the empowerment that was being set forth. Because what's happening is that everybody does not attend city council meetings. Everybody does not watch the news. Everybody does not know the ins and outs of what's going on with these city council people. And then they will come to your church. They will see you at wherever and smile and take their photo ops with you and have called you a criminal, have called your leaders criminals. So that, the mafia is what you are going up against. But I say I stand with you. So that is the importance of us sharing and getting information out there, because, you know, we standing next to people who are calling our leaders criminals. We smiling and thinking they're doing good for us, when in fact, you know, it's just a part of the game. It's a part of the game. And they want us to think we're ignorant. They want us to think we're ignorant, and they want us to stay ignorant, and they don't want us to share information. So that's why she took it upon herself to go to my broker and share the information that I shared on the public agenda and on my social media, because she wants me silenced. And, you know, where do people try to hit you? We've watched the movies before, and your paycheck, where it's going to affect your family. That's where she went. So, unfortunately, you know, it was a hill of beans, because real estate has nothing to do with me being on the public agenda as a private citizen and sharing unethical behavior, that she happens to be the person at the root of it. And it could be anybody. But she's the person who's consistently unethical up there. And again, she's effective. And so as a people, we have to pay attention to that. And we cannot continue to elect people who's going to disrespect us. That's just the way I talk. I'm from Virginia, or I'm from Nebraska. Okay. Well, that's not okay in a seat where you're there to serve the people. You don't get away with that. It's unprofessional. You don't get away with it. It's unethical. So I'm going to get ready to close up. And what I want to make sure we understand is that stewardship matters. Now, you put some names on there, Mr. Douglas. You put some names on there. I see them. Sherry, Aaron. I've known her since Fort Leonard Wood. I've known her since Fort Leonard Wood. Her heart is big. Her service is real. And she's a real person. She's a real, genuine person. Councilwoman Toya Tucker, I have respect for her. I have not ever served. I hate if she was from Mississippi, right? Well, you know, Nebraska is a red state. It's a Republican state. So, but I've not ever, what was I going to say? I've not ever served in any type of political position as it regards the respect that I have for Toya Tucker. I know it's not easy. It's not easy being a leader, period. You're going to make decisions that people don't like. You can't please everybody, and the list goes on and on. What I respect the most about her, though, is that she got in that seat. She admitted she didn't know everything. She's in school. She's traveling. She's learning. She's trying to make sure she does serve in excellence to the best of her ability. She returns phone calls. She returns emails from people that are not even in her district. And she also works hard to serve her people in excellence. Now, do we agree on everything? No, we do not. But that's life. That doesn't mean I have to dislike her. That doesn't mean that I can't respect her. That doesn't mean, let's see, are they ready to go up against the mafia though? Now, when you say that, who ready to, no, because some of them, that's what my whole point is when I'm saying going on this list. Some of them are not, right? Some of them are going to blend in to get the things they want done. Some of them, some of them people are not for us on this list that you have added on here. They're pandering big time, big time. Let me see. Yeah. So, you know, Chris Kelly, he's the people's champ. We're excited about having him in District 7. The other Kelly, I don't know. I don't think so. Much respect for Miss Toya Tucker. Absolutely much respect for Sherry Aaron. Again, her heart is real. Her service for community is real. So let's see. I started to ask him the reason for. Right. So, you know, I've been very clear on my stance and who I am. And that's why my pictures, like, you know, why she put her pictures and her name on there, because I said it and I meant it and I stand by it. So, you know, I don't have anything to hide. And I am an educator at heart. And I want our people to vote informed. I don't want us to be played and, you know, smiling in our face and showing up during election time, talking about, you know, giving out this and giving out that, when in fact you contributed to the climate that we're in right now. If you voted for Trump, then you contributed to the fact that people went 40 days without pay and without getting the assistance they needed. You contributed to our soldiers having to show up to work every day and not get a paycheck and having to get loans and get themselves further in debt because they didn't have what they needed to survive from month to month or day to day or whatever. You contributed to that. And we have to pay attention to that. We have to pay attention to people who would rather vote for now someone who's likely a pedophile, who's got 34 convictions, felony convictions. Like, who votes for somebody like that? Why? So you can't come back and try to, oh, I'm gonna have a food thing here and a food thing here and I'm giving out food, blah, 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 when initially you are part of the problem. And we got to pay attention to that. We've never seen these people before in our communities doing the things that they're doing now. They're not going to do it once they get in the seat. I'm from the streets. You need the people standing with you with the knowledge you are kicking. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean, Gregory? Oh, my Lord. What does that mean? Break that down for me. And so I just want to share. I share terms. I share definitions. I want us to be able to recognize and see things and people for what they are, not for what we want them to be, and not for the little things that they are doing right now that they haven't done consistently. If you've been here since 2018, 2017, and I've never seen you do a food drive, or your Facebook page just appeared, it just appeared because it's election season and you need to make a social media presence, that's a red flag. It's a red flag, but we don't pay attention to that. We got Crab on her page handing out food or whatever she's doing. to black people. But she voted allegedly, she voted for Trump to be in office. She stands with the red party. Now, I'm sorry, I didn't make up the rules. There's the red, there's the blue, there's the elephant, there's the donkey, there's whatever you want to call it. But let's stand on principles. Let's stand on values. Let's stand on things that contribute to our economy in good and bad ways. Let's see the cons and the pros and the cons in every decision that we make. And let's make sure that we are registered to vote. I'm ready for some of these mayoral candidates to have several seats. Chris Brown, I believe, is an honest person. He shared a video on his page as it regards to him being a part of Cure Violence and recruiting a counselor, a therapist, whatever she wants to call herself, to help a young man who they worked hard to get out so that he can move forward in a positive way. And now he's back in jail. He's back in jail for drugs, and he's back in jail for aggravated assault. Allegedly, he beat her with a stick. But she married this man. And people are like, oh, you blaming the victim. I'm sorry. On a professional status, when you are in any form of client-patient relationship, you may become a victim, but you are held most accountable for the situation because you are the professional there. It's unethical what she did. You cannot marry, you cannot have a relationship with a patient or a client or anything in a therapy world. After the fact that you're not his patient or he's not your patient, during the fact that none of it, you can't do it. Period. You cannot do it. And not only do, you can go back and you can look at the videos, but not only did they paint the picture and make it clear about the possible danger of, being in a relationship and moving this person in like in less than a month, and then also having them around your child. They made it clear. And she still did it. And she has the audacity to run for mayor. And I'm sorry for people who are supporting her and allowing her on a platform. And I know they say, we're innocent until we're proven guilty, but the receipts are present. The text messages, the memo with her name on it, saying that she was operating in, a certain space, they're present. That's enough for me. That is enough for me. And so when people are vulnerable in our community and people are trying to help them, and she took advantage of him, and now he's back in jail, I have a problem with that. I don't condone any form of violence. I don't condone anything he did that was inappropriate to her. That is not the point. I don't condone that at all. But I also don't condone knowing as a professional that somebody is vulnerable and you're taking advantage of them. And then instead of helping them, you hurt them. I have a problem with that. That is abuse. Okay? Let me see what Mr. Gregory said. You are going up against the corrupt system here in Columbus, the mafia. So you're going to need the people, let's see, standing with you, protecting, etc. Okay. Let's see. Gregory, to bring them to the live conversation. They all have different stances, but I want to hear their input. And Sherry has a foot dug in the community. She does. Let's see. Yeah, I know her. Gotcha. Yeah, she does. Yeah, and she's like, her heart is big, is genuine. And she works hard and she contributes hard, and so, yeah, much respect for her as well. So, yeah, that's it. That's what I want to talk about. A lot of things this week, shared on my social media. Please share words that you may not know. I'm a lifelong learner. I learn every day. And I try to learn something new every day. This is not my background. Politics is not my background. But when we are in the state that we're in as a city, as a nation, education is my background. And that's the least I can do, is to share information, because I've been trained to do research and to break things down in a practical way that's understandable, so we all can be on the same sheet of music. People can say, I want to make my own decision, and you shouldn't do this, and you shouldn't do that. Well, people influence every day. We got influencers getting paid every day. So I'm going to give the facts. I'm going to give my perspective. I'm going to share, what's been documented, what's on public record, whatever I'm going to share. And then I'm also going to share some wisdom and some guidance as it regards it, And we got a lot of wolves in sheep clothing. They're pandering, and they're pandering big time, okay? They're showing up where they otherwise wouldn't show up. They hanging out where they otherwise would not hang out. And guess what? They're not going to hang out and show up after you put them in the seat. So I don't believe that, you can be a part of the problem, be the reason for the problem, and then turn around and try to save the day. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Hickey is a snake, been a snake. Countryman is a snake, been one. They ain't riding, LOL. We got you though. Listen, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that, because the thing is, so I don't know what to say about the, I appreciate it. So that's what I'll say. I'll appreciate your support, and I appreciate you, stating that you, like the protection part. I appreciate that. And I just want to be clear that, it's understood that when you, say things that people don't like, and when you expose people for what they are, that certain things come with that territory. Okay. My husband will tell you right now that I'm not a fearful person, right? I'm not a fearful person. I'll never forget being at Eddy Middle School in my classroom, and somebody drove by and they were shooting. I didn't get down. I didn't try to hide. I was just there. And there's been different instances and situations that I've been in where it's just that at some point in life, you just have to trust God and know that God is with you, and that you got to listen to the Spirit, and you got to allow it to lead you and be that fence of protection all around you. And so I want to say thank you. I appreciate what you're saying, Mr. Gregory, so much. But also I have learned that when you are the type of person who speaks up, or who speaks power to truth, people will fall off. They're going to fall off. They're not going to support you because they have bigger things that they are required to, that are a priority for them, right? Like their jobs and their homes and whatever their status is in the community. So I take all of that into account. I understand all of that when I say the things that I say. And that's why I don't attach myself to organizations or to people, because I don't want them, just like she emailed my broker and she tried to get me in trouble or to close my mouth. I don't want anybody to have to go through that or be attached to that. So I speak from my own mind. People are trying to say that, I'm on somebody's campaign. I'm not on anybody's campaign. I'm on a common sense campaign. I'm on an educated campaign. I'm on an empowering my people campaign. Anybody that's willing to listen and see through the foolery and do better. The standards have to be higher this election season. And, I hope we can do it. I hope that we can, because what happens is that sometimes we're conditioned. And I know we don't like those words. We don't like conditioned or programs, But that's what happens when we've done things a certain way for so long. Tradition sets in and it's automatic. You know, it takes a lot of work to reframe and see things differently, and then plus act differently. So, you know, because I went to school with you and because I like you and because you cool is not enough for me to vote for you. And my husband and I had this, conversation the other day. He was like, you wouldn't vote for your best friend? Ask them. Ask them. They know me to be honest. And so while I wouldn't vote for incompetence and say, give you a pass because you're my friend, what I would do is say, how can I help you? How can I help you get to where you need to be, the standard you need to be, so that you are not an embarrassment, not just mediocre, doing the bare minimum, but striving for excellence and showing up in the best way possible. That is what I would do. Before, I just was like, okay, you're my friend, I'm going to vote for you. And my friends know that. People who know me know that. I don't just check boxes because we're friends. It's people right now that didn't know me and didn't know how honest I am and across the board. And so they don't like me now. It's okay. It's okay. Because I don't surround myself with people that are not going to be honest. That's yes people. I surround myself with people who are going to help me to grow and be the best version of myself while I'm on this earth. Okay? That's going to be honest with me and tell me what I need to hear, what I want to know. What I want to know to be successful. Okay. We need to get you on Sherry's podcast. Let me see. And then chat about start. Because, Sherry be on there with those big old smoke things and all kinds of stuff. Sherry already know me. She already know. She gonna get me. But she already know. She already know how I am. And she'll tell you, Mr. Douglas, she will tell you. All right, Eddie. I went to Eddie too. Yeah, so, well, you went to Eddie. Were you a teacher there? Because I was a teacher there. I was not, I wasn't a student, but my husband went to Eddie, and he actually, was a student in the classroom that I was assigned to. And so, big round circle. But yes, I'm excited about everybody that's come out and, declaring that they are running. And, people have reached out to me and they have shared my page and said, hey, go to her page. And they probably regret it now because they didn't realize and didn't take the time to get to know how honest I would be across the board as it regards what I see and how they're showing up as a candidate. Okay. And so basically what I would say to that is instead of being offended or getting mad, get yourself together. Get it right. I produced the podcast. Will accommodate you. Mr. Douglas, then, that means when Cardi B was too loud the other day and I could not even hear the AAR, you were doing that? You were the production person there? She was very loud. And I'm a Cardi fan now. I'm a Cardi fan of the clean version. Yes. But yeah, super excited to for everybody that's coming out. And again, like I said, I wouldn't get offended and I wouldn't get mad. I would just get myself right and try to show up as the best version of ourselves, because what we can't do as citizens is be poor stewards and elect people who are not. 4 years is a long time, right? 4 years for city council, mayor is 4 years. That's a long time to have somebody in a seat that is not going to reflect us and show up to the best of our ability. Okay. And if people don't have backbones right now, if they're not speaking up, if they waddling, the fence, if they lukewarm, listen, they're not going to speak up at those city council meetings. They're going to be ran over and told what to do. And that is exactly why Mr. Davis has endorsed Kogel, because he already knows that she's not competent and that he will be able to run right over her and do exactly what he wants to do, say exactly what he wants to say with her as the mayor. He knows that. And then we also know the candidates that they're not worried about, right? They're not worried about Steve Kelly. They're not worried about Jaquita Bryant Colbert. They're not worried about Mr. Hickey. He's on the city council up there. So they've already made the decision. Garrett, Crabb, and Mr. Davis, that they are backing Kogel, right? So we don't even have to worry about Mr. Hickey. He's up there to divert votes, pretty much. That's all he's up there, is to dilute the votes so that the former city mayor manager does not get them, Mr. Hughley, right? They want to believe in Kogel. They have stated that she connects with both sides. That means the black people, the white people, and I'm assuming the Hispanic people. And I don't even know, but what connection she has. But, the other ones, they have not really came out and stood behind anybody as of yet. But they've already told us very clearly they're not worried about Bryant, they're not worried about Kelly, and they're not worried about Mr. Hickey. So that leaves one candidate that they are concerned about, and that they're going to put all of their time, investment, money, and all that good stuff in. Kogel, unless somebody else comes out of the woodwork between now and when is it, March? This is who we have. This is who we have. Okay? And so I'm going to tell you what, Kogel is incompetent. And you can look on my page and you can see how she does not care, how she has neglected District 7. And if she cannot do what she's supposed to do for District 7, a small part of our city, a large part, but small part of our city as compared to all of them, there's no way she can be a city manager. I mean, the mayor. That is just embarrassing. It's a slap in the face. It's just very inappropriate. But that's how they're going to play in our face, is they're going to choose Kogel. Because she connects with both sides. What sides is she connecting with? Check out my page. Look at the footage. It was none of us in her meetings. They were drinking alcohol and wine and all that good stuff as he was endorsing her and saying she'd be good for Columbus. And really, she's just going to be good for him. And him being able, with his strong personality, to tell her what to do and how to do it and all that kind of stuff like that. That's basically what that is. Mr. Davis has a very strong personality, and he does not want anybody in that seat that's going to give him a run for his money. Oh, and I forgot about Mr. LaJoy, help today. A MAGA, a strong Republican. I don't know why his people don't support him. I don't know why he's ran for so many elected positions and not ever won. I don't know, but his people don't support him. And he still keeps showing up, MAGA and red. And here recently too, I'm going to share this, the Republican Women's, forum they have for him, but they don't vote for him. So the people on the city council, he's a man. Davis, Garrett, Crabb, none of them like him apparently enough for him to be a mayor. So that's like in your face for Mr. LaJoy, but apparently he's delusional. And he's going to keep trying until he gets a seat somehow, in some way. And, Godspeed. And last thing I'm going to say is, I know we have, we want to be fair and we want to treat people right and be kind. And I've been nothing but respectful, direct in communication about things that I've posted and shared. And I'm really, the number one person that I'm really concerned about, and that I have a problem and I feel like it's unethical to continue to support her and to give her a platform, is an abuser. An abuser. The young man was 17 initially when he went to jail for 13 years, or he was sentenced for 13 years for aggravated assault, for robbing, or whatever. I don't know all the charges, but it's on my page. He was 17. He was a baby To me, he's likely still a baby. And she totally took advantage of him. And she totally, instead of helping him, helped him right back into jail. He is a part of the vulnerable population. He is protected status, and he did not get that support from her. So we cannot, we already have a pedophile in the White House, and we already got somebody convicted of 34 felonies in the White House. Locally, we cannot turn a blind eye to people who are abusing our citizens in our community. And we can't just like, oh, well, he abused her. Well, yeah. And she put herself in a position when she moved him in and said she was in love with him in less than a month. Even when she knew and she was told the background and the challenges that he faced. So when you work in behavioral health, okay, when I did my behavioral health status in Fort Sam Houston in Texas, and we did our residency in a hospital, like I knew there was a possibility that somebody could spit on me. I knew that they could hit me, that could knock me out. I knew that based on the population of what was going on in that hospital, anything was possible, just like she did. And she still moved this young man into her home, married him, did God knows what else, because Mr. Brown has the facts, and landed him right back in jail. We cannot support a candidate like that. There's no way that she can be the mayor when she does not have the judgment and the common sense not to take advantage or abuse the protected class and the vulnerable in our community. We can't. And until I see facts, because I asked her and she deleted it. I asked her for specific questions. She deleted it. She deleted the video. I have the video. Until I see anything otherwise, she will not get my support, and she should not get anybody else's support. Period. Okay, that's it. That's all I'm talking about this evening. And have a wonderful weekend. And make sure you do your research. And I want us to use critical thinking. And I want us to recognize the red flags. And I want us to do better than saying, you know, that's my boy and that's my girl and what have you. And I want us to make sure that we are putting somebody in that seat for the next 4 years that's going to strive for excellence, service and excellence, and also represent us well. Represent us well. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. Thank you all, Mr. Gregory, for your conversation this evening. Mr. Douglas, thank you. Hello, Mr. Thomas. Let's see. Mr. Bobby, one of a kind bamboo. Okay. All right. And so, and stay the course. And I hope that, sir, you all are registered to vote and that you all will be participating in voting. We did a great job getting in 2 new commissioners for this special election. And I hope we have that same energy as we move forward into 2026 and getting people in place that's going to represent us well. I hope we have that same energy, because you know what? It means nothing if we just talk. We got to be effective. We got to be effective. And I think that because we're sharing information and we're making ourselves smart, you know, that's probably why I was reported, because, you know, people that they're not concerned about or they're not worried about, you know, she wouldn't have tried to go to my broker and you know, affect my career and things of that nature. So we're going to stay the course, but we also going to make sure we do the things that we need to do to affect change and to bring about change in our city. This is the time out for excuses. If it's too much work for you, if you're not getting paid enough to do it, then do not sign up to be an elected official, because we don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear no excuses. We want proactive leaders. We want solution-oriented leaders. We want people with education, because guess what? Maybe you don't have a degree, a high school degree. Maybe you have a GED, right? That's fine. It's fine. Have a GED, have a high school diploma. But guess what? So knowing the areas that you're going to have to govern over for city council, I expect that you are making yourself smart, right? And that you are able to demonstrate that as you run your campaign. So, fluffy stuff like, I want to do things better and I want to love people and I want to care about every side of the city. That means nothing. How? Show us. Demonstrate. Give us the plan. Give us the plan. We don't want no fluff. We don't want you smiling and taking pictures and say, I'm here for the community. Okay, what's next? Because Kogel is here for the community too. And she cares about roads and community and jobs and small businesses. But as you can see on my video from this week, there's small businesses that don't know who she is. Right on South Lumpkin Road. They have no idea who their District 7 council representative is. And if they don't know, that means she's not doing anything and she's not in that community in a way that's effective. So, have a wonderful evening, everybody. Be safe, okay? And make sure we're doing our part. Everybody has a gift to contribute. And, whether that's protection, as has been mentioned tonight, we thank you. Whether that's education, we thank you. Whether it's, whatever your gift may be, make sure you do what you can, when you can, and do it to the best of your ability. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful evening.